Cyanco is a leading supplier of sodium cyanide and applied technologies to the gold mining industry throughout the world. We operate 3 manufacturing plants in the United States. 2 plants in Winnemucca, Nevada, which produce liquid sodium cyanide, and 1 plant near Houston, Texas, which produces solid sodium cyanide. We also operate a liquid transloading terminal in Cadillac, Quebec, Canada. Cyanco is a member of the International Cyanide Management Institute, which is a non-profit organization established to administer the International Cyanide Management Code for the safe manufacture, transport, and use of cyanide in the production of gold and silver. The code also includes requirements related to accident prevention, emergency response, training, and more. All of Cyanco's operational facilities and supply chains are certified under the International Cyanide Management Code. We ship our products to various mine sites located in North America, Central America, South America, Africa, and Russia. Cyanide occurs naturally in our environment and can be found in apple seeds, lima beans, and almonds. Cyanide's special properties are significant for an extensive list of products and processes. It is a principal chemical building block in the manufacture of some insecticides, commercial dyes, animal feed additives, and pharmaceuticals. It is also used in electroplating and in mining for the extraction of gold and silver. Cyanco produces and ships sodium cyanide as both a solid and a liquid, depending on the customer's specifications. Solid sodium cyanide is shipped as briquettes, typically at 98% concentration. These are similar in size to charcoal briquettes used in barbecue grills. Liquid sodium cyanide is shipped at approximately 30% concentration, with the remaining 70% as water. Solid sodium cyanide briquettes are white in color and quite soluble in water. They are odorless and stable when dry, but will emit a faint odor of bitter almonds and/or ammonia when exposed to moisture. However, nearly half of the people who encounter it may be unable to detect the odor, and some people who handle it regularly may become desensitized to the smell, making it all the more difficult to identify. Sodium cyanide itself, in either solid or liquid form, is not combustible, but if exposed to water, acids, or even moist air, solid sodium cyanide will release toxic and flammable hydrogen cyanide. In its liquid form, sodium cyanide is colorless to yellowish in color, and may also give off a faint odor of bitter almonds and/or ammonia. Because both solid and liquid sodium cyanide have a normal pH above 11.5, it is highly corrosive in nature. Contact with the eyes can cause immediate, often irreversible damage. Sodium cyanide can be fatal if absorbed through the skin, inhaled, or ingested. Sodium cyanide, whether in solid or liquid form, is stable at room temperature if its pH is above 11.5. At a lower pH, the sodium cyanide will begin to release hydrogen cyanide. At a pH of 9.5, about 50% of the cyanide content in the product is converted to hydrogen cyanide. And at a pH of 7, almost 100% of the cyanide content is converted to hydrogen cyanide. Sodium cyanide is not considered carcinogenic. However, it is very toxic to fish and other marine life, and may cause long-term adverse effects in the aquatic environment. Whether the sodium cyanide is in liquid or solid form, it is highly reactive with strong acids and oxidizers. Therefore, it should never come in contact with these substances. The primary hazard of cyanide is that it can be highly toxic by any of 3 routes of exposure: inhalation or breathing, ingestion through eating or drinking, and absorption through skin or eye contact. Cyanide poisoning occurs through metabolic asphyxiation. Simply put, the cyanide inhibits the body's ability to use oxygen. The actual effects vary by the level of exposure, body weight, and physical condition of the person exposed. The good news is that this entire process can be reversed if recognized in time. Any overexposure to sodium cyanide must be considered serious and treated immediately. So how do you recognize possible cyanide overexposure? The list of potential symptoms is a long one, and a person may suffer any one or more symptoms, including throat irritation, heart palpitations, shortness of breath, excess saliva or a metallic taste in the mouth, and the flushing of the skin. Other symptoms may include headache, a weakness in the arms or legs, nausea, confusion, collapse, convulsion, and respiratory arrest. Even with the use of proper personal protective equipment, personal hygiene is important. Wash your hands and face thoroughly after working around sodium cyanide, especially before eating, drinking, or smoking. Never eat, drink, or smoke in an area where sodium cyanide is present. Let's summarize. Sodium cyanide is shipped in both solid and liquid form. It is highly toxic and corrosive and must be handled with extreme attention to safety. It is stable at a pH of 11.5 or higher, but will start to release toxic hydrogen cyanide when the pH goes below 11.5. So always use proper PPE and good personal hygiene when working around sodium cyanide. Next, you will learn the types of shipping containers used for transporting sodium cyanide over the road and the proper actions you are to take if you are involved in a transportation emergency involving sodium cyanide. Cyanco packages, transports, and stores sodium cyanide in several ways. Solid sodium cyanide can be packaged in plywood boxes, commonly referred to as an FIBC box, or flexible intermediate bulk container. These containers have an inner lining and a polypropylene bulk bag containing the product. Each box contains 1 metric ton, or 2,204 pounds, of sodium cyanide briquettes. Each FIBC box has large product labels attached to 2 opposite sides of the box, with the hazard warning labels prominently displayed. ISO tank containers are specially built for transporting solid sodium cyanide. The ISO tank is configured for top discharge only, with the valves located in a secured box at the top rear of the ISO tank. The tank shell is built from heavy gauge stainless steel with a 1/4 inch or 7 mm thick heads. ISO tanks typically transport 17 metric tons, or 37,480 pounds of briquettes, and have DOT UN 1689 placards on each end and side of the tank. Liquid sodium cyanide is transported in specially built tractor trailers and ISO tanks. The tank trailer system used to transport liquid sodium cyanide is designed to meet or exceed US DOT 412 specifications. The tank's shell is constructed of 1/4 inch stainless steel, covered with several inches of foam insulation, and a stainless steel outer skin. The tank trailer is highly puncture resistant. These ASME-coated tanks also have internal valves for rollover protection. Tank trailers can carry up to 23,848 liters, or 6,300 gallons of liquid product. Each end and side of the trailer has DOT UN 3414 placards. Specially fitted ISO tanks are used in Mexico to transport liquid sodium cyanide. These tanks are also specially built to be puncture resistant and are covered with several inches of foam insulation. These liquid ISO tanks can carry up to 23,000 liters, or 6,080 gallons of liquid product. Each end and each side of the ISO tank has DOT UN 3414 placards. In the event of an emergency while transporting sodium cyanide, there are 4 important things to remember. First, protect yourself. Move away from the area, crosswind or upwind and uphill if required. Second, follow your company's protocol to call for help and to notify proper authorities. Third, make sure to secure the area if it is safe to do so, keeping away onlookers and unprotected personnel.
Okay, we're 300 feet back. Hey team, let's get a perimeter set up right here.
Initially, secure an area 300 feet or 90 meters in all directions and do not allow entry unless personnel are properly protected. Remain crosswind or upwind and uphill from the affected area. First responders can utilize the DOT Emergency Response Guidebook's Guide number 157 to determine safe distances. Fourth, cooperate with authorities when they arrive on the scene. Be prepared to provide them with the bill of lading and the safety data sheet for sodium cyanide and any other information pertinent to your equipment.
Here's all the paperwork you need, my bill of lading.
When hazardous materials crews arrive on the scene, they will evaluate the extent of the spill and take appropriate action to further secure the scene if needed, forming earthen dikes to contain liquid spills and to prevent runoff in the event of rainfall during cleanup activities. If the spill involves solid sodium cyanide, a tarp or plastic cover may be placed over the spill to protect it from potential rainfall or moisture until the material can be recovered. Under no circumstances should you attempt to assist the emergency crews at the cleanup.
No, stay on this side of the barricade line and they'll get that handled down there. Thanks for offering. No problem.
Because your job is to remain in the safe zone so you can provide information to the incident commander on the scene. The response crews have the proper personal protective equipment to safely contain and recover the spilled material. Let's summarize what we just discussed. If you are involved in an accident where sodium cyanide has been spilled from its shipping container, you should protect yourself. Follow your company's protocol for notifying emergency response authorities. Secure the area. And cooperate with emergency response authorities when they arrive on the scene. If you have further questions, please contact the Cyanco technical representative in the United States at the number on your screen. We'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.